I would say he's been threatened by the truth. He's only been threatened by the truth, and he doesn't want to do that probably for me or other of his clients. He has other clients also, I assume, and he doesn't want to tell the truth for me or other of his clients.
I just love the president talking about the truth will set you free. He's referencing there his old attorney, Michael Cohen. Now, Cohen, both attorney and fixer for the Donald, was set to testify before the House Oversight Committee February 7th. But Cohen today announced that he's postponing it indefinitely after he says the president threatened him and his family. Cohen, he's referring to this tweet among other things. Here, the president quoting a Fox News reporter. Don't forget, he wrote, Michael Cohen has already been convinced of perjury and fraud, and as recently as this week, the Wall Street Journal suggested that he may have stolen tens of thousands of dollars, lying to reduce his jail time. Watch father-in-law. By the way, Cohen, he is heading to prison for 3 years. Plus, new report saying Bob Mueller, he's looking into Trump's campaign ties to the NRA. Now, the gun rights group, they spent a huge amount of money in support of Trump. Also, Russian national Maria Butina, well, she pleaded guilty to conspiracy and admitted that she tried to build ties with groups like the NRA to try to influence the election. Well, joining us now to unpack that and more, former federal prosecutor Roland Riopel. And Roland, so much to get to. Let's just jump first into Cohen. That tweet, and also he did an interview with Fox where he said, hey, got to look at the wife here. You got to look at the father-in-law. You have a sitting president basically doing a mob boss threat on live television and on his official Twitter account with an active investigation. I don't think we have the proper distance to just realize how obscene that is.
Yes, I mean, Richard, it's really obstruction of justice in real time. Intimidating a witness is a form of obstruction of justice. The word intimidation is used right in the statute itself. And that is what Trump was trying to do with those communications. And he may well have committed a crime in those communications. It does shock me that Cohen has decided not to testify. And I don't think it's a direct result of those threats, but it's, crazy time, basically, in the White House.
I've heard some of the leaders of the respective committees that were going to probe Mr. Cohen, that they're preparing to subpoena him. If they subpoena him, Roland, given that he's going to be going off to prison not too long from now, does he have to show up? Does he have to show up in real time? Is it possible he literally goes from prison to, to swearing an oath in Congress? How would it work?
Well, if he's subpoenaed, he does have to appear. If he believes that his testimony would tend to incriminate him, he can take the Fifth Amendment and refuse to respond to questions. I suspect what's really happening here, Richard, is that he is fearful that the Republicans on the committee will be fed information from Donald Trump and Trump's legal team that they will use to cross-examine Michael Cohen about his father-in-law and his dealings with his father-in-law. And Michael Cohen doesn't want to go near that, and that's why he's trying to back away. I think if he does get those questions, he will take the Fifth Amendment on them to try and protect himself and his father-in-law.
Let's go to that BuzzFeed story that you and I talked about last week and the bombshell nature of it. But after our conversation, as people probably know by now, Bob Mueller and his team took the rather unprecedented approach of walking the thing back and talking about the holes in the story. Quote, BuzzFeed's description of specific statements to the special counsel's office and characterization of documents and testimony obtained by this office regarding Michael Cohen's congressional testimony are not accurate. Now, the wording of that, do you think it's wide enough to drive a truck through, that there actually could be merit to the reporting? BuzzFeed, both the reporter and the managing editor, stand by their reporting on it. What could Mueller be doing here?
Well, I think Mueller may be trying to sort of parse language here very carefully, and he's using language very carefully. And I think there's an explanation for all this that kind of makes everybody's position consistent. Michael Cohen has pled guilty to lying to Congress about Russia. It's inconceivable to me that he would do that without discussing it at some level with Trump. Trump may not have actively encouraged him to lie. He may not have said, tell this lie in this way. But he may have acquiesced in the lie that Michael Cohen proposed to him. And, when the BuzzFeed article talks of emails or text messages that are corroborative of Michael Cohen's story, they may be talking about emails or text messages that confirm there was a meeting between the two around the time of his testimony. They may not confirm the lies in writing that Mr. Cohen made, and it may be that everybody is telling the truth. Cohen believed that Trump knew and expected him to lie to Congress and encouraged it. Trump didn't say anything out loud to that effect, and that may be the story that was reported to Mr. Mueller, and that's why he's walking it back from BuzzFeed. All that could be true. We just don't know. We'll have to wait for Mr. Mueller's report to get the details.
Rudy certainly didn't have his finest moment, or hasn't had many finest moments since he's become the counsel for the president. But what he blurted out, or whatever, that all the way through 2016, including up to the election, that the Trump Tower in Moscow was still being actively discussed, and the idea that there's tapes out there, how much of this do you think could be trying to soften the blow of what could be some explosive revelations in terms of Russia and this president?
Richard, it is so hard to tell how much of this is softening the blow and how much of it is just senility and incompetence. It's just, we'll have to wait and see. Are there going to be tapes now? Maybe this is a reference to the Carter Page wiretap tapes. I don't think Mr. Trump was taping people in the Oval Office, but we're just going to have to wait and see what it's all about. It does seem clear that Mr. Giuliani is trying to front bad facts that he knows are going to come out, but what exactly the circumstances are, it's so hard to say. And it's so hard to say whether this is just a brain fart or something more.
And just to show you, I'm showing our audience now, Roland, there was some terrible poll numbers for the president today in terms of approval rating, who they blame for the shutdown. But this number grabbed me. It's likely that Russia has compromising information on Trump. 57% of the general public believes that Russia has compromising intelligence on our president. Only 31 voted in the negative there. Oh my gosh. And the fact that if I was posed the same question, I'd answer with a plurality there. It just shows you, I guess in one way it shows you just how, either cynical or fed up the public is, but at the same time, does it also worry you at what they're going to need to be shocked by to actually move the needle here to say this is a bridge too far?
Yeah, I think that when the details come out, there's a good chance they'll be so shocking. These are general questions. Does Russia have information? People seem to believe that it does. When we find out what the information is, and I think we will find out details like that, I think people will be shocked. I think Republican senators will be shocked, and it'll be very interesting to see how the impeachment process plays out.
Finally, Roland, the NRA, why should people keep an eye here on the National Rifle Association with this probe?
Because they appear to be one of the tentacles that Russia used in manipulating the election. Remember, Russia made large donations to the NRA, which then were funneled into political PACs that spent a lot of money to help elect Trump. This could be part of a quid pro quo arrangement where Russia agreed to do this for Trump, and the NRA was the beard in exchange for Trump's relaxation of sanctions and the Republican Party's platform with respect to Russia's activities in Ukraine. So it could be a quid pro quo. It could be simply Russia meddling in the election at Trump's request, in which case it could be a campaign finance violation. There are lots of ways in which this conduct, where Russia is using the NRA as a shill, could be violative of the law. We'll have to see what the details are to know exactly what laws were violated.
Roland, great job as always. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon, all right, pal? Thank you.
Yeah, Richard, I'd like to give a shout out to
Please.
Elkin Abramowitz on the Michael Cohen thing, who suggested some of the facts I've given the audience. Thanks, Elkin.
Well deserved. Thank you as well. All right, everybody, when we come back, the rest of the program, all about the law. Up first, legal panel is going to take a look at Rudy Giuliani and his frankly stunning fall from grace from America's mayor, former U.S. attorney before that, to now an attorney for Trump, and that is not working out well at all. We'll show you what we mean.